Hey everyone, despite in earlier segments saying that we weren't going to talk about the Grotmus detachments until they were all out there, so as we could have a bit more of a sort of general vibe on all the things that have happened, one of the Grotmus releases is in fact a whole new codex/index for the Deathwatch. We were told we would get it, we now have it, and myself and Phil are going to talk about it because, you know, it's an index. And it seems like an interesting thing to talk about, especially when you consider that Space Marines have just received a myriad of interesting updates in the balanced data slate. Right, Phil?
Yeah, exactly. And, when we reviewed the Codex Imperial Agents, obviously Deathwatch was destined off to the land that was best forgotten about. But no, they're back, which is good to see. It goes to show you that protesting and crying and throwing your toys at the pram actually do work and produce results.
Tokenistic results in some regards, though. I mean, obviously, you know, this is not a fully fledged codex, and who knows what the future really holds for Deathwatch. I think this is a very good thing for legacy Deathwatch players, people who already have these collections. But I would caution anyone who is thinking about collecting a fresh new Deathwatch army. I think it's fair to assert that it is improbable that Deathwatch will continue to get this support going forwards and will probably either be getting at some point a new dedicated Primaris kit to replace the current Deathwatch kill team or Deathwatch
veterans.
Squad. Veterans, that's the word I couldn't find. Or they're just going to stick with those veterans now for as long as they can be bothered to keep producing them until they decide to discontinue them, which may happen at some point sooner than later. But who knows? Who can be sure? For now, at least, Deathwatch have something. It's maybe not exactly what they wanted, but it is at least something, I suppose. There you go. Something is better than nothing, Phil, I suppose.
That is true.
I mean, you've dabbled with the idea of collecting Deathwatch. I've dabbled with the idea of collecting Deathwatch. At one point, I actually did have a Deathwatch force, although it was all assembled and base coated, but never actually fully painted. You obviously got into Deathwatch when they were introduced around sort of 6th, 7th edition through the Kill Team mini game GSC versus Deathwatch shenanigans.
Deathwatch Overkill. I think that was cool.
That was the one. The two of us have at different points been interested in it.
Yeah, I was going to say there was also I wouldn't say it was Death Mask.
Death Mask,
yes. There was the Elder one versus Deathwatch, and then there was also a Deathwatch versus Genestealer Cult.
Correct, yeah. So the Genestealer Cult one was one of those actual kind of like standalone games that GW were doing for a while.
Yeah, because that was Kill Team Cassius, I believe, that you got on that one.
And that was like one of those really interesting ones where they actually did build specific, or rather they had sprues, but they did make them into specific like board gamey type things. So like that particular one was quite board gamey, whereas obviously Death Mask was just essentially one of those kind of, you know, kits that they, or those boxes they used to do back in the day where a force is facing off against another force. They seem to have done away with those lately in favor of just having army box sets for like new armies rather than doing the, I don't know, Khorne versus Slaanesh box set or the, Dark
Angels it's been a while since they've done one of those. I think the last one I can remember was Grey Knights versus Thousand Suns, where they gave you a new redone Grey Knight miniature. I don't know if there's been. Surely there must be some more since then.
I think Vashtor. I think Vashtor and Azrael were the last one they did, if I remember.
Right,
and that was in the Arcs of Omen. So they did a Vashtor with demon engines, whatever they're called, the demon kin things or the possessed vehicles. And then Azrael alongside the old...
Was it Venom Crawlers?
Yes, Venom Crawlers, that was the one. Maybe a Mauler Fiend or two. And then Azrael had all of his old Deathwing minis alongside him, getting those sales in before they then, got rid of them 6 months later. classic.
Yeah, I mean,
GWA.
on a slight tangent, I think it's probably a good thing that they've removed those dual boxes because they were always so penalizing to actually purchase. While it was a good value, you needed to find someone else to split the box with, basically. Whereas now it's like, I just buy that half that I wanted. And yeah, probably it's still not great that they're locking the characters or new stuff in a big box of stuff with other things. It's still better than having a whole other faction that you don't want in there as well.
Yeah, that's true. I do prefer the army box sets. I can't lie. I'm genuinely pretty happy with that as a broad concept. But yeah, anyway, let's talk about Deathwatch, right? So Deathwatch are Space Marines. So as Space Marines, they will get over moment and all the usual stuff. But one of their specific army rules is kill teams. And why don't you tell us what that is, Phil?
So each time an attack targets a kill team unit from your army that contains models with different toughness characteristics, because kill teams are made up of mixed miniatures from different squads traditionally. Basically, until the attacking unit has finished making its attacks use the toughness characteristic of the majority of models in that unit when determining what result is required for that attack to successfully wound. Okay, so majority toughness, quite simple. If two or more toughness characteristics are tied majoritarily, use the highest toughness characteristic. That will make sense and is very similar to games of old, where you basically easily mix and match characters with units as well. And then for the purposes of determining which models can embark within a transport model, kill team models follow the normal restrictions listed on transport model.
Makes absolute sense. So next thing along is the Black Spear Task Force. It is a detachment. It comes with a number of restrictions. So if your army faction is Adeptus Astartes, you can use this Black Spear Task Force detachment rule. Your army can include Adeptus Astartes Deathwatch units, but it cannot include Adeptus Astartes units drawn from any other chapter. With the exception of Kill Team Cassius, see Legends Agent of the Imperium, your army cannot include any Agents of the Imperium Deathwatch units. Interesting. I
assume what that means is you can't take the veterans using the Agents of the Imperium rule, but you would still get them, I would assume, within this PDF, which we'll see.
Yes, no, indeed.
Because I assume the veteran squads are in here. The Corvus Black Soul's definitely in here, because I remember seeing that when I had a look through it earlier. So yeah, basically those things should have already been transported across. So it's not like you don't have access to them. You just can't take the extra, couple of units via Agents of the Imperium rule.
I mean, to their credit, at least they were good enough to actually remember that they've put Kill Team Cassius in the Legends section, and that they're actually calling that out, because obviously when something goes into Legends, there is a sweeping assertion that they are essentially being forgotten about. So actually it's quite nice that they actually remembered that it was in there. So fair play to them on that one. Your army cannot include any of the following units: assault squads with jump packs, attack bike squads, devastator squads. Are attack bike squads even a thing anymore? I thought they went.
Unless that they've kept them in and they renamed them because they're, bikes plus attack bikes. I don't know.
No, because there's no... interesting. Oh, well, whatever. I'm fairly sure attack bike squads have gone away. I think in normal Space Marines, they've just become ATVs now, but who cares? Devastator squads, Land Speeder Storm. Land Speeder Storm. Again, this must be accounting for a lot of Legends units, basically. Relic Terminator Squad, Scout Bike Squad, Scout Sniper. Yeah, these are all Legends units. Tactical Squad, Terminator Assault Squad, and Terminator Squad. Fine. So your army cannot include a bunch of stuff, including a good amount of stuff that is drawn from Legends or Firstborn, quite particularly, which is sort of interesting. So they've got their ability called Mission Tactics. Phil, why don't you tell us what that's all about?
Sure. So at the start of command phase, you can select one of the mission tactics listed below, and until the start of your next command phase, that mission tactic is active, and its effects apply to all units from your army with this ability, and then each mission tactic can only be selected once per battle, which is interesting. You've got the Fura tactics. So while this one is active, weapons equipped Weapons equipped by Adeptus Astartes units from your army have the Sustained Hits 1 ability.
Nice.
Then you have Malleus, which is basically the same but gives you lethal hits.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is Purgatus Tactics, which gives you precision on a critical hit.
Wow. Oh, crit hit equals precision. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, well, fair enough. I mean, yeah.
The usual standards.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it would have been way too powerful just to give all your weapons precision, right? Because it would just been a nightmare just like picking off all those characters. But all right, fair enough. Yeah, no, it seems cool. I mean, sustain's nice, lethal's nice. It's just weird that I suppose you only get it once, but I imagine there are things in here that let you do it again.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it quite often they give you these sort of battle round abilities, but they're like a once per game thing, and you only get a limited amount. So you potentially got turns where you don't need it at all, and you might argue like, yeah, turn one, I wouldn't even use any of these because I won't have much to actually shoot at due to all the cover that's about. And then turn 5, the game's probably already over, so it doesn't matter then either. So therefore, turns 2, 3, 4, the important ones, you've got your 3 to pick from.
That's fair. We've got some stratagems. We've got Armor of Contempt, which is basically reducing the AP of weapons. As clarified in the balanced status link, you're only going to be able to use this in a one-on-one interaction. So you have to pick the unit that this will be reducing, but still incredibly useful stratagem. Adaptive Tactics is a new one for the detachment. So happens in your command phase. Up to 2 kill team units from your army or one other Adeptus Astartes unit from your army. Interesting wording there, but fine. The assertion is that you can either pick one regular Astartes unit or 2
kill teams. Kill teams, which is cool.
It's just the inclusion of other, but I suppose in that instance it's in relation to other stuff as opposed to this.
Yeah, if you take a generic,
Astartes
like
unit.
a generic Astartes unit,
Hellblasters or whatever have you. For each unit targeted, select Fura Tactics, Malleus Tactics, or Purgatus Tactics until the start of your next command phase. That mission tactic is active for this unit instead of any mission tactics that is active for your army. So, yeah, cool, nice. So, essentially, a CP strat to be able to give a specific unit one of those buffs. Tidy. What's Hellfire rounds, Phil?
It is a 1 CP Wargear stratagem. In your shooting phase, select one kill team unit that has not been selected to shoot this phase, and until the end of that phase, ranged weapons, excluding devastating wound weapons, sensibly. You get anti-infantry 2+ and anti-monster 5+. You cannot select any units that have already been targeted with either the Kraken rounds or Dragonfire round stratagems this phase, so you can't combo it. Because basically, Hellfire rounds, Kraken rounds, and Dragonfire were the historical extra ammo that the kill teams get access to because they're specialists, and each one does something different, so they can shoot them when they need to, basically, depending on what the mission is or who they're shooting at. And I think for a while now, the stratagems have been how they've manifested this within the game system itself.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, again, being anti-infantry 2+ is pretty powerful. Anti-monster 5+ is obviously circumstantially good, but the Hellfire rounds into infantry seem very viable, given the amount of potential shooting that you're going to have available to you. You've also got the Kraken round. So in your shooting phase, one kill team. Till the end of the phase, improve the arm penetration characteristic of your range weapons equipped by models in your unit by 1 and improve the range characteristic of those weapons by 6. Fairly pointless because it's so rare that stuff is out of range, but where it is, I suppose, useful is it could, by increasing the range, increase the range of your rapid fire. So that's more likely to be useful than just, the base range of the weapon. Because obviously if you go from range 24 to 30, your rapid fire range then is now 15. And those 3 inches of difference probably matter more than the broader, 30-inch range. So, yeah, I mean, it seems cool. Additional AP and the opportunity to get more shots. Pretty nice. Dragonfire rounds, Phil?
So similar, 1 CP in your shooting phase, select 1 kill team. Basically, ranged weapons gain assault and ignores cover. On the same stipulation, you can't fire it with the other rounds. That one's pretty good as well.
Yeah, I'm curious what you'd use that with, because a lot of guns already in Space Marines have assault, right? Like, this is one of those things that people overlook quite often, but your standard bolters and plasmas and a lot of stuff has assault already baked in. So trying to think what that would massively benefit.
I know. Well, essentially, I guess we'll see when we go through the kill teams, because obviously they're mix and match units. So even if one sort of type of unit, one type of Space Marine is within a unit has assault, the others might not. So just giving it as a broad range to everyone might be quite good.
Yeah, be interested to see, because I think that's the thing, especially when they're only targeting kill teams. Although maybe actually where this could be very helpful is probably in those Phobos kill teams where you take a lot of those sniper geezers. They'll probably benefit from that. Thinking about it, I can't remember if the bolt carbines on anyway,
like the Reavers.
Yeah, the Reavers and things. If they were, I think the Reaver ones are assault, but I was thinking more the infiltrators. But
right, okay.
we'll get into it. And then site to site teleportarian. End of your opponent's fight phase, up to 2 kill team units from your army or 1 other infantry unit that's not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. Remove those units from the battlefield and place them in strategic reserves until the end of your next movement phase. Models in this unit that do not have deep strike ability have the deep strike. Wow. Okay. So not only do you get to pick some up, they also then gain deep strike. Wow.
Yeah.
And 2 units. Wow. For 1 CB. Oh my God.
At the end of your opponent's fight phase. So super great for sort of within the current edition and basically how scoring works with your cards. So that's really good. And I think this is one I was saying where this would be really handy with all your flamers.
For sure.
Got access to your pyroblasters now. They've got increased AP and damage on them. If you've got a kill team with a bunch of flamers in, they're nipping around, doing a lot of stuff. Yeah,
that can be very meaningful. That's pretty tasty. We've got a bunch of enhancements. Thief of Secrets. Tell us what that is, Phil, because I did the last thing.
It's the Adeptus Astartes model only improve the strength, damage, and armor penetration characteristic of the bearer's melee weapon by 1.
Wow.
At the end of the fight phase, if 1 or more enemy models were destroyed as a result of a melee attack made by the bearer this phase, until the end of the battle, improve the strength, damage, and armor penetration characteristic of the bearer's melee weapon by 2 instead.
Wow.
That is quite tasty. So it's extra strength, extra damage, extra AP, but then as soon as you kill something with it, it goes up to 2.
Yeah.
So, it'd be interesting to see some combos of what weapons you could put it on.
I suppose most
see
of
how much damage you can stack up. Most of the Marines is 2 damage max.
Most is 2. I don't think there's anything that comes to mind that is free
because Power Fists and Thunderhammers are all 2 now, sadly. But now you can have the old days of a Thunderhammer that does 3 damage.
Well, you can, yeah. That's also strength. What would that be? Strength 10 or strength 11? Whatever it is. Because it would be strength 8, almost. It would be strength 10, wouldn't it? That's very compelling. Yeah, I mean, that's easy to see the benefit of that. The Osseous key, Watchmaster or Tech Marine model only. Oh, that's cool. They've extended it to Tech Marines. That's really cool because that used to just be Watchmaster only. At the start of your opponent's shooting phase, select one enemy vehicle, excluding Titanic units. Boo! Should be Titanic units too. Boo! Within 12, visible to the bearer. That unit must take a leadership test. So not a battle shock test, a leadership test. If the test is passed, until the end of the phase, each time the model in that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. If the test is failed, that unit is not eligible to shoot this phase.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Wowzers. Yeah, that's meaningful. That's really meaningful. I mean, fair enough.
Yeah. If you did that on a Titanic unit, you...
yeah, exactly. I mean, brilliant. But the complexity of this, though, is that obviously within the game these days, it's very rare that you're going to be out in the open, but ultimately you will be out in the open when trying to achieve certain objectives or aims, and, circumstantially, it could come in handy. It doesn't feel as evidently strong as Thief of Secrets, but ultimately, could be useful. Yeah, I think it's one of those. It's very circumstantial, but it's nice that they've given it to Tech Marines now as well, which is cool. The Beacon and Jealous, Phil.
This one's quite straightforward. Adeptus Astartes model only. Models in the bearer's unit have the deep strike ability. In addition, you can target the bearer's unit with the rapid fire ingress stratagem for 0 CP.
Wow,
classic.
Mate, rapid ingress for 0 CP is super valuable. And the idea that you could get a unit and chuck deep strike on it is also really good. Because again, what we were saying before with these flamer units could be really great. Like, chuck a flamer unit down with a captain or whatever. The captain then obviously discounts your teleporter redeploy as well. So, yeah.
But that to kind of get you going turn 1? No, turn 2 would have to be. But then you've also got side-to-side teleportation as well. So
I mean the only thing that sort of would have been cooler is if somehow you were able to come down in the command phase rather than the movement phase, because obviously you come down at the end of your opponent's movement phase with rapid ingress, and that means that you can't target anything with Overwatch because everything's done moving. But I suppose if someone comes and charges you, you can Overwatch as well.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I think I'm being a little bit greedy by suggesting that there needed to be the ability to come down, fire Overwatch, and then that'd be a bit much. But that seems really cool. Tome of the Ectoclades, Watchmaster or Captain model only. Once per battle, after you have selected your Oaths of Moment target, the bearer can use this enhancement. If it does, select a second enemy unit to be the Oath of Moment target. Designer's note, this means that each time a model with Oath of Moment ability makes an attack that targets either of your Oath of Moments, you can re-roll the hit rolls. Fabulous. Noting...
Well, seemed obvious.
Yes. Well, so in the case of Gilliman picks 2 units, but you only have Oath on the second unit once the first unit is destroyed. So there is a precedent that it's done differently.
Right.
But,
okay.
Yeah. It's but yeah, it probably didn't need stating, but yeah. So overall, I mean, actually, some really useful enhancements. I think the Beacon Angelus and the FIFA Secrets really good. And obviously the Tome of the Ectoclades is incredibly strong for Space Marines. Double Oaths. Yeah, like amazing. Admittedly, it's once per battle though, so it's not every turn. So, but yeah, I mean, I'd say 3 out of the 4 of these are actually really good, and the key is circumstantially really great. I mean, when it works, it's exceptional, but it's obviously, it's a variable, I suppose. But and the stratagems seem quite nice as well, to be fair. And the overarching ability seems good. So I mean, I quite like all of this. It seems fun.
Yeah, no, it's good. Obviously, the side-to-side teleportation one I think is very strong.
Very strong.
However, it feels like by introducing these kind of stratagems in the game, it makes transports completely redundant. It's like, why have a Corvus Black Star when you can just jump stuff around the board every turn instead?
Yeah.
So that's my only criticism of these things, although the sort of the flexibility of those things is very cool to actually have access to. But it's like, that's what flyers are for. That's what rhinos are for.
That's what rhinos are for.
It's just a different game now, and that's the thing that irks me slightly with these things, as cool as they are to have. That you're undoing some other things without realizing it at the same time.
Yeah, I think like they do probably realize it, though. I think the reality is that at this point, it's actually probably better to try and move away from using
transports and flyers.
Yeah, I just think with the way the game's going, I don't mind transport so much. I think they could do stuff with that to make it work. But flyers and Titanic things feel like I mean, they should still be in the game, but they should be more or less kind of used in more kind of fun games, casual games, whatever. Like, I think they're probably not part of the mixture for, balance when it comes to
I guess, as we talked about at one point in the episode, if people are at all ever playing Onslaught games on much bigger tables, then that's when those things probably have a lot more relevance to the game, because the board should be bigger. You need access to get around stuff. Again, so teleportation probably does it better, but at the same time, it's still nice to have those cool models on the table.
No, totally agree. Right, what they got? They got the Watchmaster, which we won't bother talking about dramatically because the Watchmaster is the Watchmaster. He's a character. I mean, basically, he's pretty, useful, I suppose.
It's quite tasty, especially if he's got the thing that could do +2 damage on it.
Oh, yes, of course, yeah, because, I mean, obviously with his Vigil Spear. Oh, damage D3, so that would be damage D3 +1.
Or +2.
Or +2. And that's nice. Yeah. And then, that would become strength 7, becomes strength 8. Yeah.
With Lance.
Yeah.
6 attacks. It becomes quite tasty.
He's
it's already -2 AP, but that would make it -3, up to -4.
No, I don't think it increased the AP, did it? I think it only increased.
It was
I think the secret was
AP and damage, I thought.
Oh God, it is. Oh my God, yeah. Oh wow. So yeah, he'd be AP4. Oof.
Unstoppable.
Mate, what a boy.
Yeah.
So he's got Watchmaster, once per battle, 1 unit from your army with this ability. It reduces the cost, fine. And strategic knowledge, as well as the unit. That unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it advances from back. Okay, fine. He's very good. He's very good. Get one of these.
Advancing charge is really good.
Yeah. You should have one of these in your army. They're very good. Watch Captain Artemis. What is leading a unit? He has lethal hits. Unstoppable champion. The first time this model is destroyed, roll a d6. At the end of phase on the 2+, he gets back up again. It's pretty funny.
But with only 1 wound remaining, which is a slight nitpick. If it was like 2 or 3 or D3 or something, that would help. But 1 wound, I mean, that's a bit of a fun gimmick and might help you score an objective or something. But he's probably going to die pretty soon afterwards.
Quite probably. If well, it depends, I suppose, on the phase that he's getting killed in. Because I suppose if he falls in combat in your opponent's phase, at the end of that combat phase, you get back up again. You
get a turn to do something, I guess.
Yeah, and you're not within engagement range, so you can. Yeah, I mean, to me, that doesn't seem. I don't know with Artemis. It's one of those ones where he seems all right, though. I mean, his mastercrafted power weapon looks all right.
His ranged weapon looks pretty good.
Yeah, D6 shots, torrent weapon basically with devastating wounds. Okay.
Well, anti-infantry 4+, devastating wounds, ignores cover. Strength 4 -1, but the devastating wounds is quite nice because ultimately you're just trying to cause mortal wounds on someone.
D6 is so swingy though, man. Like it almost feels like, I don't know. It's quite a swingy weapon, and it's very short range. But No, I mean, armor seems all right. We got Deathwatch veterans. They're basically exactly the same as they are in Codex Imperial Agents. So, death to the alien. Each time one of this unit makes an attack, reroll the hit roll of 1. If the target of the attack does not have the Imperium or Chaos keywords, you can reroll the hit roll instead. Oh, wow, okay. So basically you get to reroll all hits against anything that isn't Chaos or Imperium, and you get to reroll ones against Chaos and Imperium units.
So does that make Oaths of Moment somewhat redundant for this unit in particular?
Yeah, I suppose it does, really. I mean, it's very odd, isn't it, when you're leaning into... Like, it's odd to sort of double up the archetype. Again, it sort of feels like makes sense in Agents of the Imperium where they don't have Oaths of Moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel quite as cool when they've got it anyway, but I don't know. I suppose it is what it is, isn't it?
Well, I guess it just means you can use your O's for other units.
Yeah.
Or it's more important when you're up against your non-Xenos units, like the Imperium and Chaos, because you're rerolling the hit rolls of 1, but you're not rerolling all your hit rolls. But O's would allow you to then reroll all your hit rolls. So it does still have some use, but just not as effective as other situations.
I'm still incredibly frustrated by the fact that they removed the Black Shield awesomeness from this squad and just turned it into weapons. Yeah. It annoys me because it's like the Black Shield concept, and they realised this really well with the 8th edition and maybe even 9th. I can't remember if it was 9th or 8th edition, but like you could, you put the Black Shield in, and then the unit basically became like a character, so they could heroically intervene. And it was really cool. It was like a really cool addition to the unit. It felt really substantial. It had its own unique profile. The Black Shield seemed super cool, especially obviously when we've had Space Marine 2, where Titus is running around at the start as a Black Shield. It's become a very, right now it feels very sort of culturally relevant and very cool. So it's sort of odd that they've like not really. Again, it's just weird. I mean, at the end of the day, cool. You can take a couple swords and they've got rules, but that's my only bugbear with this unit. It's like, give me back my awesome Black Shield upgrade, for God's sake.
Well, I mean, I like the idea that you can give your Black Shield any weapon options, and it's not specifically just for swords like it was here. Although it just reminds me of the time when Duncan Rhodes did the painting guide for the Deathwatch when they first came out, and he gave the Black Shield for Thunderhammer. Yeah, because it looked cool, but then actually rules-wise, that wasn't a legal loadout.
Oh, it used to be. It used to be. I think you could give them anything back then. It was just the Black Shield could take any weapon, whereas now they just have Black Shield blades.
That's somewhat weird. The other oddity here is the Astarte shield. Do you know what's weird about it?
It gives a 4+ invulnerable save?
Yeah, but what do every other shield give in the game?
4+ invulnerable saves?
No, it's +1 to wounds.
Plus one wound.
To your wound. Yeah, +1 wound. Yeah.
Well, I suppose in a lot of instances, so like the case of like Terminators, they already had the 4 of Invuln, so then they just get the +1 wound. I was thinking, because where does the 4 of Invuln come from on the Blade Guard? I assumed it was the shield, but like it's not really stated. It's just on the profile now, isn't it?
Yes, they all have what looks like iron halos, though, so
that's
you could argue that's where it comes from. Like with Custodes as well, they've all got 4-up Invulns, and at one point was +1 to your Invuln save, but now it's just +1 wound. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, I guess maybe the case is if it's already got an Invuln save, then they don't want to make Invuln saves better than a 4+, so they give you an extra wound. But in this case, you don't have the Invuln save anyway, so it's giving it to you, which feels somewhat inconsistent, but I sort of understand the hoops they're jumping through to make it make sense.
Yeah, I get it. I like the versatility of the unit, though. I like the variety. I like the fact that you've got a mix of like different guns and different melee profiles, and you can tool the unit in different kind of interesting ways. So it feels very versatile. Again, it kind of feels like a unit out of time now because it's so many options and so much gubbins. It almost feels a little bit over the top. But at the end of the day, it's nice to have that level of flexibility. And presumably someone's already figured out what the most optimal way of taking it is and, utilize that. I assume it involves a lot of the frag cannons, etc., etc.
Well, I was going to say, the frag cannon looks quite interesting. It's blast heavy, rapid fire, D3, 18 inches, and then the attacks is D3, hitting on 4s, strength 7, -1 AP and 2 damage. So you're basically at half range getting 2d3 shots, but potentially if they're a squad of over 5, you're getting +1 to that. It seems interesting. I remember those always being quite crazy weapons.
It's quite interesting as well, actually, because the Deathwatch veterans, their bolt guns aren't assault, so they don't have a huge amount of access to assault. So maybe there's a opportunity that the giving them assault actually becomes quite useful here.
With the was it the Kraken rounds that did that, or
no? It was a hang on, let me scroll back up and check. It were was it a strat?
No, it was.
No, it was an enhancement, wasn't it? Oh no! It was. No, where the heck was it? We were talking about this.
It was the Dragon Fire rounds. That was it. It was assault and ignores cover.
Yes, there it is. I see it there. Yes. Okay, nice. So that synergizes quite nicely with that. Cool squad. Great minis, even though they're a little bit diddy, but they're not as diddy as.
They were done at a time knowing that Primaris was coming, so they scaled them up ever so slightly from the regular Firstborn. So they, as you say, they still hold up quite well. And to me, they're still some of my favourite Space Marine minis.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I like them a lot. The backpacks are really cool. The shields are really cool. Lots of good detail on them. They're a cool unit.
Love a little, I think it's like grenade pouches that you stick to their chest.
Oh, yeah, they're nice. Deathwatch Terminator Squad, mad to see the old plasticky Terminators here. It's been so long since I've seen them.
It's a bit odd that they haven't just converted up some of the new ones.
They will have had these in the studio, and they're just like, just get them in photography and call it a day. When they're not going to be like, we desperately need to commission another one of these. But yeah, so I mean, the Terminators at the end of the day, they got a lot of options. I think so. Their Terminator Assault, you can reroll charge rolls made for this unit. Each time the unit ends a charge move, each enemy unit within engagement range of this unit must take a battleshock test. If that enemy does not have the Imperium or Chaos keyword, subtract 1 from the test. That's pretty tasty.
I mean, that's quite good. I think the fact that you get a free reroll. I mean, I don't know if Terminators normally have this ability.
They do when they're joined by a Terminator captain, but ultimately, but
having a free reroll to your charge, that's pretty cool. Especially when you can. Oh no, are these a kill team? Hold on. Oh, they are. So you can use the teleportation strat with them. Once they've done killing one unit, just jump them around the table to another unit to try and charge in.
And they do still have the teleport homer as well, which allows them to rapid ingress, and they're allowed to be deployed within 3 inches of that teleport homer. And what's interesting about that is they haven't specifically FAQ'd that, so this is one of the few things that, under very specific circumstances, could still come in within 3. Because it's not a stratagem.
How weird.
Yeah, so the balanced data slate addressed the stratagem, and then and then it called out each of the unit abilities specifically. This unit ability is intact. But
no. It says it's up to 3 inches of the token, but not within 9 inches of enemy units. So it's not a 3 inch. That's why.
Read all of the words, Dan. That's the trick. Don't just stop at the bit that you want to hear. There you go. Sorry, everybody. Terribly, terribly silly of me. Yes, thank you, Phil, for keeping me honest. But anyway, so rapid ingress for free. Really cool. A big 10-man unit of Terminators rocking up and then redeploying all over the place is pretty terrifying. Let's have a look at the weapon options of these. So basically, up to 3 Deathwatch Terminators can each have their Storm Bolters replaced with one of the following. Wow. So 3 of them.
What's it normally? Is it 1?
It's 1 for every 5.
Ooh.
So you could literally have a 5-man squad with 3 Cyclone missile launchers.
Wait, hold on. Because the squad size is
5.
5 to 10 models.
And oh my god! And they can have any number of models can have their Power Fists and Sword Bolters replaced with Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields, Lightning Claws, Chain Fists, or Power Weapons. That is a very, very powerful squad.
It's like, let's all do Deathwatch Terminator armies now.
Honestly, mate, like, I mean, imagine having the thing is just 2 of those units. So just take 3 Cyclones, 2 Thunder Hammers, Storm Shields. That's amazing. But to be honest with you, I would probably still lean into continuing to have... Well, actually, no, the Thunder Hammer Storm Shield is so valuable because it's an extra wound.
Yeah, I was going to say, having an extra wound makes them really tanky, especially when they've also got the reroll charge rolls. So you could make a very good hard-hitting, like, assault unit.
And you could obviously add in other characters to it. So there's the Terminator Chaplain, Terminator Librarian. I wouldn't recommend taking the Terminator Captain, although maybe, because even though you're not gaining the benefit of his rerolling charges, you do get the CP benefits. But I do think the Chaplain's probably better because the Chaplain gives you the ability to automatically pass battle shock tests and gives you essentially Lance. I think it's like plus strength as opposed to Lance specifically. But it makes you more punchy.
I was going to say, can things like the Terminator Chaplain join this unit because it's not a Terminator squad, it's a Deathwatch Terminator squad?
So specifically here it says attached unit. If a character from your army with the ability can be attached to a Terminator squad,
it can be attached to this unit instead. Okay, right, cool. They've got that stipulation in there. Okay, that makes it quite interesting.
That's actually a really good squad. That's quite scary. Like the idea of, have a couple units of them. 3 Cyclone missile launchers in a 5-man unit. Yeah, that's wild.
What's the stats for the Cyclone missile launcher? It's so you got a frag option, which is blast, both 36-inch range, 2d6 attacks, hitting on freeze, strength 4, no AP, 1 damage, or crack, which is 36-inch range, 2 shots, hitting on freeze, strength 9, which isn't that great. Minus 2 AP, D6 damage. Interesting.
And you still get the Storm Bolters as well.
True. I was going to say, do things like the Kraken rounds just affect all your shooting weapons?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So that gives you a few extra options to sprinkle there. Let me just load up my Kraken missiles.
Yeah. With my sustain hits 1 or whatever else it is. It's like, because you could go into your... you can go into your
mission tactics as well
tactics
to get sustained hits or lethal hits.
That's a very, very potent squad. I mean, very durable, very killy, very good. And with the redeploying, with a little 5-man footprint. That's really powerful. Corvus Blackstar, again, similar to what it was in Agents of the Imperium. Like Phil was saying, probably not the most useful thing to field anymore.
But it looks awesome.
It does look awesome. And, everyone should put Halo launchers on it so as it has smoke just out of I don't know. Stupid.
Oh, it's got to get the smoke keyword so you can then spend a stratagem on it.
Yeah, or you can have Ignore's cover. Oh, I best have the smoke ability.
Yeah, stuff like that just feels like just give it to them innately.
Yeah, or just not have it. I mean, literally, this is no option at all, is it? Like, why would you ever do it? Yeah, and it's got its cluster launcher stuff, which is fun. It's a really cool vehicle. The rules seem fine, but this makes sense if you're doing the Deathwatch allies via Imperial agents. It doesn't really make sense in this army, unless, of course, I'm wrong about that, in which case I accept that. But it doesn't feel like it makes sense in this army.
I sort of agree with you. I think the gun, it's not enough of a gun platform to justify its cost when you have the movement utility of the teleportation stuff already baked in. Whereas as an allied force, you've got your 2 veteran squads that are foot slogging it, unless you either put them in like a Rhino or the Corvus Plaxar, in which case actually then it gives it a lot more utility for them to just sort of drop them around on the table, cause some trouble, along with it being a sort of, something to be shot at and to do some shooting.
Odd question, Phil. Are you fiddling with a knife at the moment?
No, I'm not.
No, I'm hearing this like click, click, click sound, like someone pulling, like one of those, like, I don't even know what those sort of blades that you sort of put them in the mouth.
Oh, I mean, I have one here, but it's not. It's not that.
There you go.
It's not me doing it. I'll show you. Yeah,
don't worry. I thought you were there, like, doing a thing. Well, whatever that is, it might just be a sound in my head. So we're all good.
Yeah.
Okay, what the heck is this? Talon Strike Kill Team.
This is the jump pack themed kill team.
Oh, okay. This sounds fun. So Kill Team Sergeant with jump pack and Kill Team Intercessors with jump pack. Love that. Kill Team Heavy Intercessors with jump pack, i.e., Phil, Inceptors.
Inceptors, yeah. So this is the first time I noticed it, and I assume they've done it rather than on the squad names. They're just sort of denoting things by their actual armor, which I guess makes sense, but it's odd because normally you would go, what's a heavy intercessor with jump pack? That doesn't exist in the vocabulary of Codex Space Marines. Because as you say, they're Inceptors. But it's interesting to see that that's how they're being described, which sort of makes sense. This is a bit odd when you first see it.
I imagine it's potentially to remove any weird ambiguity around potential potential interactions that specifically target Inceptors, maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't know what those would be, but they might exist. But this sounds super interesting. So we're looking at Talon Strike Doctrines. Each time this unit is set up on the battlefield until the end of the turn, improve the arm penetration characteristics of weapons equipped by models in this unit by 1. Mega. Melee weapons equipped by the models in this unit have Lance ability. Wowzers. So you have 1 Kill Team Sergeant with a jump pack. You have up to 2 Kill Team Intercessors with jump pack.
2 to 9.
2 to 9. And then you have between 0 and 5 heavy intercessors with jump packs. Now, here is the thing, Phil. Like, when they say 0 to 5, does that mean that... Because how does this break
So under unit composition, it says 10 models maximum.
And you can take variants.
So you can do it in whatever you want. Yeah, so you've got to take your sergeant, and then you can have, say, if you have 5 heavy intercessors, then you can then have 4 of the regular intercessors with jump packs.
Do we know
to your 10?
Do we know if they've put this index in the thing yet? I don't think they have they, in the app?
Let's have a quick look.
That is... you know what it'll be? It'll be in the MFM, won't it? Because it'll tell you how to organize.
In terms of points?
Yeah, because that's the thing that's weird about this squad. It's like, so am I paying per heavy intercessor with jump pack? Am I paying per kill team intercessor with jump pack? Or am I playing a flat cost and I can take whatever, adaptations that I want,
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I would assume they point it per model.
Yeah, I would assume so too, but I don't know. I'm just gonna have.
It depends, because you might go, yes, heavy intercessor's got technically better stats than a regular intercessor, but maybe what each one does sort of balances out based on whether you want to lean more into the shooting or the combat.
Yeah, have they done? Okay, so page 17 is Deathwatch. Just scrolling down to this, trying to get my head around all of this nonsense. So, Deathwatch. Oh wow, okay. So a Talon Strike kill team is 10 models, and it's 290 points.
Right, so it
So there's
says
no
10
variance.
models maximum. It is actually just 10 models.
Yeah. So you're almost inevitably always going to do 5 of your heavy intercessors with jump packs, given the fact that they're T6, which obviously boosts your entire unit to T6 up until the point you lose 1 model.
Right.
But the hilarious thing about this is you don't have to remove them. You remove the things with the lower toughness.
Yeah.
Because, games. And they're 3 wounds each. So you're getting 15 wounds at T6. With obviously very powerful.
So is it just got a fixed cost then?
Yeah, it just comes with a fixed cost. So I'll put it on the screen so people can see it. But yeah, so just 10 models with so all of the kill teams are like that though. They're basically fixed. The Deathwatch veterans come in 5 or 10. Deathwatch Terminators come in 5 or 10. But Fortis, Indomitor, and Speculus and Talon Strike all just come as 10-man units, which is wild.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
God, yeah, so you could really... Okay, wow. So you can give your Sergeant, Power Fist, all the good stuff. Wow, okay. Wow.
Yeah, so it's the heavy guys get the plasma exterminators or the heavy bolt pistols. The
Oh, hello, Phil. Can you hear me? Sorry about that, everyone. Moment of technical fun. So the 10-man unit, 290 points. Yeah, obviously seems really robust. An interesting mixture. But again, I genuinely think, I would always be thinking to myself, it's basically going to be a 5-5 split, right? Like, that's how pretty much I imagine everyone would approach it.
Yeah, I would have thought so, unless you want to lean more into the close combat potential, because obviously the regular intercessors just have chain swords and bolt pistols, which does give you a bit of combat utility, but the shooting's really devastating from Inceptors, so you could drop them down, shoot at something, and then try and finish them off with your chainsword guys. Because actually, the one downside is when you try and do that with Inceptors, they're a bit rubbish. Because they've basically just got fists. So actually having it's something that's really good in combat is actually really good on these guys. Now, I'm assuming they can't use the Inceptor sort of deep strike down ability because not everything in the squad has it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but they're an entirely different squad with their own.
Of course. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What's really cool though, Phil, is that for you, like as a potential unit to muck around with. Obviously, you currently don't own any assault intercessors with jump backs, but you've got a pretty robust collection of Inceptor models or heavy intercessors with jump back models. And you can attach characters to that in the form of assault intercessor captains with jump backs.
Finally living the dream.
There you go. You can make it a reality.
I've just got to run my Minotaurs as Deathwatch, basically.
Oh, yeah, Deathwatch. Yeah. Nice. Cool squad. The Fortis kill team is basically your Bogo Primaris intercessor kill team. It is made up of 1 kill team sergeant between 2 and 9 kill team intercessors, or 0 to 4 kill team intercessors with plasma, 0 to 4 with heavy bolt pistols, 0 to 4 with pyre blasters, and 0 to 2 with super frag rocket launchers. So we've now basically got to the point where you've got almost every flavor. In fact, every flavor of like standard.
Yeah, the Mark X tactical armor. Yeah,
that's really cool. That's really cool. The idea that you can have a couple of the super frag launchers in there. It's interesting that they're specifically only super frag though now. So obviously you're not getting the super crack, which is the other variant of the old T-shirt cannon gun. So you're not able to utilize maybe the more It's going to be more than the anti-infantry variant.
No, it does say that. So any number of models can replace their Super Frag rocket launcher with one Super Crack rocket launcher.
Oh, it just doesn't have the rules for the Super Crack on
it's got an asterisk, and it says the profile for this weapon can be found on the Deathwatch Armory card, because basically they've run out of space on the actual cards.
I love that. Fine.
But weirdly, that is ironically what it always used to be like in sort of 6th, 7th edition, right? You had your basic stats and weapons sort of on the profile, but all the weapon options were in a separate like armory table, which you could pick, and then you just had your generic like weapons list at the back of the book, which is where you'd have to find these extra upgrades from.
But yeah, I mean, this seems kind of interesting. I mean, points-wise, Indomitor's coming in at 270. Feels quite pricey. But I mean, it's 10 minis. Obviously, the plasma's pretty good, but you're not benefiting from shooting on death. The Pyroblaster thing's quite good, but you're not benefiting from the Battle Shock stuff. And then obviously if you're taking the heavy bolt pistol, you're essentially then becoming an assault intercessor, which I don't really think you're going to do. They got the Fortis Doctrine, so each time models in this unit make an attack, the targets a unit that is below starting strength, add 1 to the hit roll, and it targets a unit below half strength, add 1 to the hit roll, and add 1 to the wound roll. So that's nice, basically just putting in the final boot, because obviously if you're going with things like plasma, being able to add 1 to the hit and wound roll is pretty strong.
Especially for your crack stuff as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think those are probably like the 2 starting points. You're probably going to take 4 plasma, 2 crack, and then, I mean, you may as well, I suppose that's 6. So you basically at that point can have 2 more before then. No, sorry, you can have 1 more before having to take your minimum allocation of intercessors. So
this is a really dumb question. What is an intercessor with a heavy bolt pistol?
That's an assault intercessor.
Oh, okay. It's odd that that's in here when everything else is kind of shooting. I mean, guess as you say, it's going by armor type rather than anything else. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think you'll ever see anyone take the heavy bolt pistol variant.
Here's the thing. If you do that with the Pyroblasters, it's like no one would ever want to charge that unit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose. So, you think like,
it's a come at me, bro, squad. So it's like, you come near me, I'm going to flame you. If you try and charge me, I'm going to flame you. But then when it's my turn, I'm going to try and charge you and flame stuff.
Yeah. So I suppose, so you could take 4 flamers and then 3 things. So again, it's weird in a way that they didn't make it. For me, it would have made more sense if they'd done 2 to 9 kill team intercessors, or 2 to 9, but I suppose how do you express that? I guess they had to draw a line somewhere.
Yeah, it sort of forces you to take. You can't just go, I'm going to have a squad of all like, Pyroblasters or plasma guys. It's like, And even if you take, so I'm going to take the Pyroblasters and I'm going to take the heavy bolt pistols. That only gives me 8. So I've still got to take another random, like ideally, I guess, an intercessor, like the bog standard one, plus for sergeant.
Well, you have to. The squad starts with 3 intercessors. That's
right, yeah. So you've got to take at least 2 of them. I see what you mean, because that is the minimum. Right, I see. That that makes sense. So you've got a generic, build from those 3 models.
Yeah. The Indomitor kill team is next. I guess this was one of those things that was like hidden in plain sight because no. I apologize. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, the Deathwatch heavy bolt rifle, assault, heavy, lethal hits, and damage 2. So there you go. It is.
The upgraded weapon profile, you mean?
Upgraded weapon profile, yeah, there they go. They snuck it in there. in the Deathwatch profile. Although I think the heavy bolt rifle for regular Marines is AP1, so even better in Deathwatch.
Nice.
Assuming that's actually accurate, but whatever. This potentially is an extraordinarily strong one.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's
how many points are they looking for this one? They're looking for 270, so cheaper than the Talon Strike, and you're talking T6 across the board.
Yeah,
Whoosh.
It's 3 to 10 heavy intercessors, 0 to 3 heavy intercessors with power fists. Oh god, my mind's gone blank. What are they actually called normally?
Aggressors.
Aggressors, that's it. Thank you. And then 0 to 3 heavy intercessors with melter rifles. And then it's got Indomitor Doctrines. Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack that targets the closest eligible unit, or makes a melee attack in a turn in which it made a charge move, improve the strength characteristic of that attack by 2.
Yikes.
Ooh.
So you're going to
wait, your melters get to be quite good then, because they're strength 9 at the moment.
Yeah.
Makes them strength 12, which isn't quite... Sorry, makes them strength 11, sorry. But you want them to be strength 12, ideally, because that's what a lot of the tougher vehicles are. But even so, against certain units, that makes them a lot more tastier. And even things like the Balsam Gauntlets go from strength 4 to strength 6. So yeah, that's pretty good.
This unit doesn't have. Sorry, I was just looking back at. I was convinced that the bolt rifle did have rapid fire, but in the case of Deathwatch, they don't. But whatever.
No, I think they just got heavy, didn't they?
They have heavy assault, and I thought for some reason they had rapid fire, but obviously I'm wrong. But yeah, so the Deathwatch heavy bolts come with lethal hits baked in, which I think is now also standard. But yeah, where the interesting element comes in, I suppose, is when again with the Dragonfire rounds, or not the Dragonfire round, the Kraken round, the one that improves your range by 6.
Oh, I don't think that was Kraken one. That was the one afterwards, which is not the Dragonfire one.
No, I think it was Kraken. Yeah, it is Kraken.
Oh, it was Kraken.
So 1 kill team unit, improve the armor penetration characteristic by 1 and improve the range by 6. So that is good. So literally, with that Melter squad, Phil, obviously you could be improving the range to 24, which would put Melter in effect at range 12, which is very good. And your AP4 becomes AP5.
Which is pointless.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, if you're shooting at Land Raiders, other things with like 2+ saves, being able, obviously, to be AP5 is massive, because like that's basically you have no save. AP4 on 2-up, you still have a 6. But with -4 or -5, that's huge.
Become 7, yeah.
And the fact that you're then strength 11 as well. Obviously, you're not re-rolling everything like a regular Eradicator, so there is that downside.
True,
but you can take the multi-mounter. It's an interesting squad, this one. I mean, it's one of those ones where it's going to be really fighty, because it's so hard to not take the or not advocate for taking the bolt gauntlet and frag launcher things, because they're just more shots. But having the flamers obviously is cool because of the Overwatch potential combined with the other guns. But I just think as a unit, the idea that you would have a solid base of 4 intercessors, heavy intercessors, and then 3 aggressors, 3 eliminators or eradicators. Sorry, sounds really cool. That's a tough unit to shift. I mean, that is 30 wounds at T6. It's pretty wild.
Right. Here's the weird oddity. It says your minimum is 3 to 10 heavy intercessors, and then 0 to 3 intercessors with power fists, and then 0 to 3 intercessors.
You're going to ask why they
rifles.
didn't say 4 to 10.
Yes, because you have to take 4 minimum heavy intercessors, unless of course they're going to introduce some other types of heavy intercessors at some other point, in which case this needs to be updated anyway. So yeah, that feels like a sort of weird oversight where it's like, I guess it's like they want, because I guess there isn't a sergeant. They've gone, oh, well, let's change it from 2 to 3. But then they've not realised that there's not more to make up the missing models.
Yeah, my guess is they thought at one point there was a sergeant in there. Because there is a sergeant model, he just doesn't have anything unique. So I guess they were just like, oh, we don't need his rules in there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a massive problem. Spectrus kill team. So this is 3 to 10 kill team infiltrators. 0 to 3 kill team infiltrators with bolt sniper rifles. 0 to 4 infiltrators with Deathwatch Oculus bolt carbines. And 0 to 4 kill team infiltrators with combat knives. So what's their gimmick? At the end of your opponent's turn, if this unit is more than 6 away from your enemy units, you can move this from the battlefield and place it into strategic reserves. It doesn't have deep strike, but obviously you can give it deep strike by putting a character in it that has the deep strike upgrade. So that's probably not a bad play. Probably a librarian in Phobos armor is probably a good shout because it will give them lone op 12, which is a massive upgrade for a big unit of 10 deeds. It's pretty strong on small little MSU units at the minute, so probably
But here's the thing: so you got your Terminators, and they can have teleport Homer, which allows them to jump around. You've got your teleportation stratagem, which allows 2 units to teleport around, and then you can take these guys as well. You could have an entire army where literally everything can jump around the table if you really want it to, which is quite mad to think about.
I think it's pretty fun, though. I mean, it definitely seems like a really interesting set of mechanics.
I mean, this is probably a unit where I'd assume it's a lot cheaper than some of the others. Then probably not as punchy or shooty. So having these guys go off and do your secondaries and jumping around the table might be a bit more effective, even though they don't necessarily have deep strike baked into them, and they're just coming on from a table edge. That's still pretty good.
Yeah, I think the thing is with these guys is obviously you still have the sniper element, which is still cool. You've got the Helix Gauntlet, which is giving you the Feel No Pain 6+, which is really good. Obviously, you got the stratagem stuff as well for the comms array. So on a 5 less, you gain 1 CP. And also, you're always going to take the bolt carbine. So as after you shoot, you move again. So that's pretty mad, man. Like the idea that basically you can use your scout move, or you can infiltrate, then scout. So if you know you're going first,
right, yeah,
infiltrate, scout, shoot, move again in your opponent's turn, disappear, come back again. Yeah, it honestly. It's such a cool utility squad. It's pretty wild.
True. What I've also realised is the combat knife also has precision, which I didn't realise. So it obviously got the extra AP from the balanced data slate, but the fact that it's also got precision makes it relatively good in combat against, killing characters. I mean, it's not a great stat line, but it's better than nothing.
That's really better than nothing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're going to get 4 attacks out of it. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool squad. I mean, I'd take it. I'd take a few of these. I think I'd probably look at, if I was doing Deathwatch, I'd take probably 2 of these, 2 MSU Terminator squads, and then just fill out the rest with the Indomitus ones and call it a day. I probably wouldn't worry too much about the Mark X ones, although even those seem like they've got some interesting viability. And I probably might even go so far as to have 1 unit of the jump pack ones. The only negative is, I suppose, not only negative, there are, multiple negatives, but some of the major negatives, I suppose, with this is that you've just got to rely on these big 10-man units, except for the Terminators, and except for the kill team veterans. And also, you really have to kind of figure out, are these benefits better than what you just get by taking the regular squads? Because the regular squads have a lot more a lot more abilities that are more relevant to what they do, whereas this is a bit more generalized. So
true, and they still get access to all of those, don't they? So.
No.
What the generic?
Oh, sorry. Yes, yeah. So they still get So yes, you're 100% right.
If I want to take a squad of Hellblasters, I can just do that, and I think that is 100%. Probably what they're trying to encourage Deathwatch players to do, because that's basically what they turned them into before they gave us this index. But it is nice that you do get these sort of kill teams. Weirdly, none with bikes in, but I think that's probably for the best, because that was always a bit bonkers.
Yeah, I'm really happy that they've got rid of that. Not because, here's the thing. I bought so many bikes back in 8th edition when, not 8th edition, sorry, 9th edition, when that was the thing, when they introduced the kill team in 9th, where it was this weird bike thing, and it was mad.
They can be bikes, but class as infantry, and they can go through walls and all sorts.
Yeah, it was absolutely
and
wild.
In earlier editions, you could have a Terminator and assaults, not an Intercessor, because it was predating Intercessors, just an assault marine with a jump pack. You would have all the different sort of, and plus a bike, all in one squad. They were a real mishmash of models, whereas now at least categorizing them down by the armor seems to feel at least more logical, and visually will look more consistent on the table, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the right decision to deal with that. But yeah, look, I think that's the thing. I genuinely think that the Phobos kill team, the Spectrus kill team, is really strong, and you can definitely see some viability in that. The Terminator kill team is extraordinarily strong. That's a very, very potent unit.
Well, that's the weirdest one, because it's not really a kill team; it's just Terminators.
Yeah, and you know what? As well, that's crazy about them is they're 180 points, mate. That is normal Terminator points.
No, but you can get more weapons in them.
Yeah, if I get a normal Space Marine Terminator squad, they're about 180. If I get this one, they're 180. But the difference is my normal Terminator squad is 4 guys with power fists and storm bolters and 1 guy with a special weapon. Whereas if I do the Deathwatch one, it's 3 guys with cyclone missile launchers and 2 guys with Thunderhammer storm shields. It's it's a very different unit. And it still has, okay, fair enough. It doesn't have +1 to hit against the Oath. But that's literally the only thing it's missing out on. And I totally take all the extra shots from cyclone missile launchers over and above +1 to hit. So, yeah, that Terminator squad is very powerful, or seems very powerful, especially combined with things within this army. So, yeah, I think that's really interesting. I think they've done something quite weird there, but we'll see how it plays out. The obvious problem, though, is getting hold of all those weapons consistently, because if you want to lead into the cyclone missile, obviously 3D printing, blah, 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 but if you want to do it legit, a box of 5 Terminators just gives you 1 cyclone missile launcher, and it doesn't give you any Thunderhammer storm shields, so you're going to have to obviously figure that whole thing out.
Yes, because I guess assault Terminators haven't come out yet, and they would be where you'd get the storm shields and Thunderhammers in.
You can obviously buy the current, the old style Thunderhammer Storm Shield Terminators, but they are so dinky compared to the new stuff. Yeah. It's unreal.
But you've probably got some Deathwatch veterans, so you've got access to some different types of Thunderhammers, but sort of more thematically appropriate, maybe. So yeah, you've got some options potentially.
Well, to be fair, it's probably not impossible to do those swaps. I'm trying to think if...
Plus they've got the Deathwatch shields there as well, which would probably look quite good as your storm shields.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sure people will work their way around it, but yeah. But again, that's one of those things, though, sincerely, when you're looking at a squad like that, it is definitely good in the short term. Whether GW wake up one morning and go, oh God, we made a mistake with that, and change it, that's entirely possible. And also the lengths by which you have to go to be able to put it together, you have to ask yourself the question, is it worth it if potentially they're just going to not support it in a year and a half's time? Because it's probable that that's the case. So I think that's always the thing. Here's the thing. If you own all this stuff, great for you, go do it. it's just, and I do really like the rules here, but I think it's probably a more sensible decision for anyone wanting to do Deathwatch that they approach it like a Space Marine army when they're collecting, building, painting it, and then where possible utilize these rules, but don't lean super heavily into these in terms of your collection, because it's highly probable that they're going to change or go away.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's like to make a lot of these kill teams, you need to buy all the boxes that would make up regular squads. Now, technically, you can be like, well, I'm only going to take 2 from this squad and 2 from this box to make my kill team. But ultimately, as you're right, you should go, cool, even though it means I have extra models, build them as like the 5 or 10 man squads as they come in the box. Yeah. Then you go, cool, I can then mix and match them into the kill teams for these games. But then, as you say, if the rules ever change and they revert back to a generic Space Marine army, it's like, cool, I've got all the models and they're all built and painted. I think a lot of people probably haven't done that, and they've gone, I've just taken the odd model here and there, really heavily converted them, built my kill teams, and potentially there's all these spare models on sprues, but that doesn't really help you if you've only got the exact models for kill teams when they made the changes that they did.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because there are changes, and yeah. But anyway, look, long story short, though, is it's actually better than I thought they were going to get. I think it's actually a really nice set of rules. Obviously, Space Marines have had such a meaningful buff in terms of what they've been given in this balanced data slate, and a lot of that is represented here, but so you could probably have the best of both worlds. This is not a bad detachment. The enhancements are good, the stratagems are really good. It's got a couple units that you're probably going to think about taking. I mean, whether or not you're even going to load them up that way, I think the fact that you can mix in some Thunderhammer Storm Shields or whatever into the Terminator squads make them quite viable anyway. But anyway, look, long story short is there's a lot of interesting stuff in it, and I quite like it. So I think, on the whole, I genuinely think that's a pretty good get for Deathwatch players, and they'll certainly hold them over until hopefully they get another codex again in the future, which I just don't believe they will. But whatever, who knows, right? Like, maybe GW will positively respond to the fact that people are excited about it. But again, it's going to come down to, I guess, what they see in terms of sales and representation on the tabletop, but again, that will be determined. But no, I really liked it. I mean, Phil, what was your vibe on it before we move on to whatever we're doing next?
Yeah, no, it was. It's really good. I sort of like that. Actually, it's super viable to run it as a generic Space Marine detachment. So you got your basic units, you've got your veterans, and then I guess you've also got your Terminators as well as the Deathwatch Terminators, but they could just be a regular squad. And they've still got some cool abilities. And if you do have the ability to access some of those extra war gear options, you've got that in there. And then the kill teams are just a nice bonus on top. And they look good. I don't know how much they've changed from the older index, in case anything's disappeared, like the bike one that we mentioned. But the only time I remember that was previous editions, so that one might not have been there anyway. So yeah, hopefully the fans are going to like it, and it seemed nice. I like it.
Yeah, I think it is worth saying, though, actually, just reviewing it, the stratagems, other things, if you are going to do this detachment, you're going to have to lean into the kill teams, because almost every stratagem is targeted kill team specific.
Well, isn't it like 2 kill teams or 1 generic?
No, so specifically,
or just specific kill teams.
So adaptive tactics, it can go on either or. So either 2 kill teams or 1 Astartes. But Kraken, Hellfire, and Dragonfire rounds only go on kill teams.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then site to site teleport is 2 kill team or 1 Astartes.
Okay.
So yeah, if you are looking at this for a generic Marine army, you probably are still even then going to want to lean into the kill teams. But again, it's probably not that hard to do. But really interesting army. Definitely got a lot of interesting flavour. Well done, GW. It's not a bad attempt at that. So yeah, look forward to hopefully seeing people with their kill team armies, come coming back to the fold and enjoying the fun that is purging the Xenos as the Emperor intended. Brilliant. All right, well, we're going to move on. Cheers all. Transitional noise. Wow.